I don't really know why I started recording guys sitting them down and asking them why they started surfing and what they did and where, but I think Paddy Kelly had sent me some photos from Canada. He lives in Canada, and he sent me some slides of the trip we did around New Zealand in '66, '67, and I thought they'd been lost, and there's photos of my car and 4 of us guys doing this trip around New Zealand that for me they were lost, and he sent me these photos, and it was such a joy to get them because no one really had cameras in the 60s. Very few guys did, and so I was thankful for that. And since interviewing Bill Durham, he had more photos that I didn't know existed, and I was very lucky when Tui Wordley came over for a reunion of the Tatahi Surf Club probably 13 years ago. I managed to get a few slides off him of vehicles and the first contest at Waipu Cove. So I just thank those guys for keeping a record of a bit of surf history in Northland. There's lots of stories that people when you sit down and ask them a story or start talking to them, they open up a bit. And I've known a lot of these guys for years, but when you sit down and ask them, you know, why were you there and how's that, they tell you stories that I've never heard before. So that I just loved it. So it's been great. And then Mike came over from Aussie, and he's doing something a little bit different, but we decided to join forces, so it's been fantastic. And you hear of this book's been written about all the top surfers all over the country, but most of us are just average surfers. We get out there, but when we catch a good clean wave and we do a few turns and hang 5 and stuff, we feel like world champions. So it's just the average surfer just saying what it was like in the 60s and why they did it. And I think most of them will tell you now that it was some of the best time of their lives. It was you just went surfing and you had a ball. There wasn't much drugs around in those days, and everyone there was just for a lot of fun. Everyone would hang out in town on a Friday night, block the streets, the cops would move you along, but there was just a pretty good atmosphere of these guys, and we just had a ball. You've got guys like Mel Eglinton that has run competitions since I can remember. And Pauline Pullman, she's put her heart and soul into scholastics over the years. She was probably one of the early ones to sit these young surfers down. These are just schoolboys, and tell them that, you know, a lot of them are good surfers, but you put them in a competition and they're terrible. They'll panic, they'll take the worst wave, they'll watch the other guy get good waves, and then they'll take any wave to try and get a wave. And she would get these school kids and video them out surfing, and then tell them what they were doing wrong and how to approach a competition. You know, a lot of them in the 60s, they go to the New Zealand Nationals and they'd get on hit the booze late nights, and the next day they'd be competing, and they'd wonder why they couldn't compete very well, but it was just because they were had it. And there's a lot to competition surfing, and people like Pauline and Mel, who just year after year after year would be there running competitions, getting not paid for it at all. And I just take my hats off to those guys. They are the ones that have made surfing for a lot of people enjoyable and fantastic. And I'm just blown away by some of the stuff. You've got Barry Chappell, and I think Tim Frazehurst have probably got the sweatshirts that were made like in '66 for the Tatahi Surf Club. Barry's still got that sweatshirt, and you can put it on and wear it downtown. It's probably 40 years old and it's like brand new. A joy to interview Ross Edge, who at 70 is still making surfboards, He goes to the surf shops, he talks to the young guys, he's just so involved with surfing. And if you start, a lot of us, if you start talking about surfing, our eyes will light up, and to see a 70-year-old eyes light up when you start talking about surfing is just something fantastic. And these guys, they've kept so much stuff that when you look around my shed, I've got a bit of stuff, but these guys have got all these old photos, and they remember their first surfboards like it was yesterday. Some of them have some of them stopped surfing for a while, and they've regretted it, and it's very hard once you start. If you stop for a long while and you're not, and if you're sitting in office, you lose a lot of muscle and stuff, and it's very hard to start up and get back right into again. And just doing this to a bit of family history for these guys. You know, I'm 63. You don't know how long you're going to live. It would be neat to just this recording for the grandchildren for years to come. So it's probably why I started doing it, and it's been an absolute joy. There's a lot of people that I haven't managed to get hold of. I still work, and just to squeeze everything in on weekends or night time is very hard. A lot of people now live busy lives, and to get them into video for half an hour, 3/4 an hour is pretty hard, but I managed to get a few, and I'll keep working on some more. So that's why I've done it, just to just to record a bit of history. I think most of these guys, when they catch a wave, they feel like world champions. We've been lucky up here the last few years. We've had the Hyundai longboard circuit come up here, and I usually enter it, and the last couple of years we've had the two previous years we had the world champions, and just to sit there and watch these guys surf is just absolute pleasure. And we'd all like to be like them, but we're happy when we catch our little wave, and no one's watching, but we're happy as. So cheers, thank you.